Hey everybody, happy Tuesday, and we are back for another episode of Remax Live, Facebook Live interview, The Voices in Real Estate. This live interview will take place weekly for viewers in the real estate industry to learn and become better real estate agents. Within Remax, we believe in strength in numbers, where people are open to share their experiences and knowledge with other Remax agents and of course the rest of the industry that can help better serve their clients. So today's topic, this is a very interesting one because it's actually relates a lot to what we do on a daily basis, especially at these times, helping our clients, is in the mortgage industry update. So our special guest today is Pat Gibbon from TD Canada Trust. He's the national manager of builders and mobile mortgages. So let's get Pat on the screen here. Hey, Pat, how's it going?
All right, Kingsley, good. Thanks for having me. I'm
Awesome.
coming to you from my kitchen here, and I guess like everybody listening in, we're heading into week 5 of self-isolation, and we've gone from here in our household, we've gone from social distancing to spousal distancing. So things are, the house is starting to shrink. It's starting to feel smaller, but hopefully we're not in this position for very much longer.
So are you one of those people that by the end of this, you're going to move into a bigger house then?
I'm going to need one because all I've been doing is working and snacking. So I'm going to need, just by virtue of my size, I'm just continuing to get bigger and bigger. So hopefully, like I said, this will be behind us shortly.
Awesome. Well, for those viewers, Pat is actually coming out from in Ontario. So he's looking for a bigger house after this. So any real estate agents that's working in an Ontario area, here's a lead for you.
Yeah, hey, I'd love to be out there in Kelowna with you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for participating in this interview, and perhaps maybe give the viewers a little bit more background of what you do and so forth before we start the questions and so forth.
Yeah. So again, thanks so much. Probably many of you know that TD has been partners with Remax for 30 plus years. So, and that really is part of my job, is managing that relationship with Kingsley and Elton and Derek and Roy and the whole crew and Remax head office. So I manage the real estate side of things, as well as you mentioned earlier, our builder program. So I have 5 regional sales managers across Canada, and we work with new home builders, and we have a product for their purchasers, a long-term rate hold. And so that's really the two things. So I get the best of both worlds. I get to work with the best brand in the industry on the resale side and also on the new construction side. And occasionally the two actually cross paths. So that's
awesome.
That's what I do.
Awesome. So for those viewers that we have here, typically I know that we would leave a minute or two after the show for Q&A. However, since there's a lot of mobile mortgage specialists that TD has across Canada, if you have any questions, they'll be more than happy to answer the questions for you, because a lot of the questions are really provincially specified or even just to area specific. So it's better to cover some of those questions. But Pat will be, Pat's on Facebook too. So if he wants to comment on any of them afterwards, he's more than welcome to participate in answering some of the questions himself after the interview itself.
Right. So, or you want to watch me barbecue a steak or something, like visit my
Well, he always works out and barbecue steaks and have good wine, so it's good to follow him too, I guess. So let's kind of jump right into it. And obviously, this whole COVID situation has shifted a lot of business, and especially in real estate too. A lot of agents are now trying to find ways to do showings virtually and all that stuff. The process itself is different. And I'm sure in the mortgage side, things are very different on the TDN too. So could you maybe talk about that? Whether there's some of the changes that's taken place in your end, how people can start looking at getting the mortgage and so forth.
Yeah, that's a good question. So TD Banks, really our number one priority was really just to maintain the health and safety of our colleagues, our clients, the communities we serve. And so we've been encouraging Canadians to try and bank digitally where they can. And you'll notice that we've closed a large number of branches across Canada and reduced hours. And effective actually this weekend, we're going to be closed on Saturdays and Sundays. And the reason we're doing that is obvious. Like, we're just trying to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. So really taking steps to do that. If you go, we've actually reserved the first hour of banking throughout the week for seniors and at-risk people. So they're welcome to come in prior to the general public to do whatever banking that they have to do in person.
So senior as in the age of 60 or 65? Because a lot of like grocery stores and everybody's a little bit different, right, in terms of the definition of seniors.
Yeah, I would go with 60.
Okay.
A little older than me. I don't know if you're trying to make a point there. Older than that. But yeah, so 60 and over and at-risk people, we are reserving that first hour for them to get them in and get their face-to-face banking done. Even when you go into the branches, you'll notice that we've implemented some social distancing. So we have a greeter at the front, and so we're limiting traffic into the branch. We're doing the tape on the floors. We've started to install plexiglass in the branches, as well as providing our frontline staff with masks, personal protection equipment as well. So we're encouraging people, to if you know, obviously banking, like real estate, is an essential service, but we're encouraging people to find different channels to bank with us. So that would be digital, phone, easy web, our network of ATMs across Canada, all those different ways to engage with us.
Right. And it's good that you guys are very responsible in terms of protecting your own staff and the customers that are going into the banks, right? Because we still have brokerages, brokerage owners that still run into the bank for bank runs, and you get to deposit check and so forth. So it's good that they're looked after in that sense too. So
yeah, I would just encourage anybody that actually physically has to go into a branch. Again, we're encouraging people not to go into the branches, but if you have to physically go in, to phone, number one, to make sure the branch is still open, and then secondly, to book an appointment. And that's the safest way to do it, yeah.
Awesome. So there's a lot of TD mobile mortgage specialists across the country.
Right.
And so a lot of our agents, not only our agents, I guess, but the industry itself works with a lot of your MMS. And how is that process? I guess, and they deal with the clients too, right? That gets referred over. So how is that process being changed on a daily basis for those guys?
Yeah, so you're right. We've got about 1,200 mobile mortgage specialists spread right across Canada. And if you think about the process, again, we've been partnering for a long time, and we work closely, with many of your network. If you think about the process, it's very much a face-to-face process pre-COVID, right? Like, your agents would meet with a customer, hopefully help them find their dream home, and then introduce that customer, that purchaser, to one of our mobile mortgage specialists. And they do that. That's a face-to-face meeting where we would engage the customer face-to-face, authenticate the customer, take a credit application, get the application approved, and then we would introduce that customer to one of our retail branch people to actually sign the mortgage loan agreement, another face-to-face interaction. And then we would, the customer would end up in a solicitor's office or a lawyer's office actually signing the mortgage charge. So we had to work very quickly to sort of take that very face-to-face heavy process and, how do we do that digitally? How do we do that remotely without actually engaging people? And it was a very complex process. And we had a big team that worked tirelessly, I can tell you for sure, day and night through the weekends to stand something up that would work. So I'm happy to tell you now that we can actually look after your customers from end to end. So from authenticating them up front right through to funding remotely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the question I get most, I guess, in terms of that process part is signatures.
Right.
And in the real estate side, then we can use DocuSign for most of the things. Unless you get to the lawyer part, that might be a little bit of a challenge. But for mortgage side, how's that changed then for signatures?
Yeah. So again, like everything that we had done previously was meeting a customer face to face and engaging and authenticating them. And so the bank really, unlike the real estate industry, was way ahead of us in this area. We really didn't have a way, an e-signature or a DocuSign, as we called it, process. So again, that was one of the things we worked hard on. We now have the capability to email a PDF version of the documents to your customers, where they can e-sign or DocuSign and email the documents back to us. And so again, you know, and that includes an authentication process. And it's something that, again, that we stood up pretty quickly to be able to support you and your network.
That's good. That's great. It makes it a lot easier, and the process is more, I guess, seamless during these times, because mortgage is very similar in a way with like real estate. It's all face-to-face back then, and it's good that there's ways that you guys have made the adjustments to adapt to all these things that are happening. It's
right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's maybe shift it a little bit. Instead of talking about the process, which we just covered. Let's talk a little bit about the deferral program for mortgages, because not everyone's getting jobs or having the same job that they had a month ago, and some of them are have salary cuts and so forth, and there's struggling people out there, right? So how's that deferral program? First of all, I guess, in place, and how does that help people, those people in need?
Right. So that's a great question. And I think everybody knows, like, it was the big 6 banks in conjunction with the CBA, the Canadian Bankers Association, actually worked fairly quickly and introduced us fairly quickly to the market. And it was an effort to allow customers to defer up to 6 months worth of mortgage payments. And the response was overwhelming. In fact, we didn't have the infrastructure to handle it. I know many of the other banks as well were overwhelmed by the response, and our service levels initially suffered for it. But we had a lot of people pointed at it to process the backlog of deferral requests. We introduced some technology to help us get through it. So the good news is, I think we're on top of it now. But we had, several tens of thousands actually customers require or request a deferral of payments because of the impact of COVID-19. Now, how do they do that? They could, again, visit a branch if they had to. But again, I would call the branch, ensure they're still open, and make an appointment. What I would recommend even better is that they can go to we have a web page set up dedicated to COVID-19. So that would be td.com/COVID-19. And so you can go there, and there's actually a smart form that you can complete and get a response fairly quickly on the request. They can also reach us through our EasyLine telephone banking. So if they've got an access card, on the back of the access card, there's a phone number. If you call that, there'll be a specialist there that'd be happy to assist any of your customers with a deferral. And again, that COVID-19 webpage, there's a ton of information there, not just about banking, but to help everybody get through this.
Right.
So the other thing I will mention, Kings, is we've had a lot of requests around, the deferral, and does the payment deferral affect in any way, negatively affect people's credit bureaus? And so I can confirm for you that it does not affect your credit bureau at all if you take advantage of the payment deferral. That's
awesome. That's a great program for people then. And I guess the easiest way and probably the fastest way, seemingly, is to go online to the site and then complete the form, rather than taking your time, taking that risk to go into a bank and meeting people and so forth. So
and for people that aren't as digitally savvy, you can just call, like I said, just call that EasyLine telephone number, and there's people on standby to help.
Right. Awesome. And well, we've got a lot of real estate agents that work with clients, and I'm sure even if their client is not as tech savvy, some of us here can also help redirect them to the form part of it and help them out in that sense too, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of what we do, I mean, previous to this, we're more salespeople, but now, and we talked about it in other sessions, that we're more servicing, right? So anything that doesn't matter, I'm sure the NMS, the same rules apply. Have it more of a service to help people out than just selling the product itself.
Yeah, and I think that's something that our customers are collective customers will remember when this is all behind us is that, we were there to help versus, as you said, there to sell them something. So it is, that's a shift from being a sales focused to service focused. It's a great point.
Right. So, so now it comes to the part. My favorite part is I always ask the question of what's the Remax Hustle tip from the person I'm interviewing, and
Right.
I know Pat's probably got 100 tip for people, but what would be Pat's one Remax Hustle tip for our viewers here?
The one tip, yeah, you let off with it about my Facebook page. So if you want to see me barbecue or introduce you to a great wine, visit me on my Facebook page. I'm constantly talking about working out. So pre-COVID, my routine was I'd get up at 4:30 in the morning, and we'd go down and we'd do some interval training at 5:30 in the morning, grab a Starbucks coffee on the way home, have a shower, and I'd be ready to work for 7:30. And so I guess my Remax Hustle tip to everybody listening would be, exercise is important. Carve out 30 minutes in your day. And again, it can be going for a walk. It could be playing with the kids. It could be doing a 30-minute yoga session. There's tons of, online exercises that you can have access to. But it's really important, not just, the obvious physical benefits, but also mentally. There's a lot of science that suggests that exercise can enhance your mood and alleviate anxiety. And I think that's just really so important right now as we go through these really extraordinary times. So I hope that helps. That's my tip.
Yeah, it does. It does, because a lot of times when I go on Facebook and so forth, I see a lot of people with taking photos of their stash of alcohol. But on the other hand, I mean, these are the positive things that we should be doing in terms of, physical health and even mental health, like you mentioned, just exercise, take that, even 20 minutes, doesn't even have to be 30, right? Just dedicate that time, do something with your body and just make yourself healthy. And, when you come out of this, you'll be ready for better challenges, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, that wraps up the interview. But thank you for being here and help with the viewers with a lot of the mortgage questions. And like I said earlier, if any one of you have further questions in terms of everything we discussed, from the process of getting a mortgage for your clients or to the deferral program, feel free to make your comment on the right below the video, and I'm sure one of the MMS that TD has will be able to help you. Okay. All right.
Just a quick thank you, Kingsley, for having me, and a quick shout out to everybody there listening. I know real estate is an essential service, and big thank you to everybody that's out there working with Canadians, helping them find their real estate, find their dream home. So on behalf of TD and our mobile mortgage specialists, thanks for everything you guys are doing.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.